Good evening, everybody. So tonight I am not going to be doing a video about saving money or cooking. I decided to come on and make a quick video. Actually, I can take my glasses off because I don't need them to read anything. About something that happened actually last weekend, but I was super sick last weekend, so I didn't really talk about it. But last weekend was Valentine's Day. And this Valentine's Day marked 5 years that I've been in remission. So for people that don't know me or just stumbling onto one of my videos, I had cancer. I was diagnosed back in 2014 with cancer. I spent 2013 I was actually diagnosed. I spent the majority of 2014 and 2015 battling cancer. So it's now been 5 years, and the 5-year mark for me is really significant because in the very beginning, my doctor had told me the type of cancer I had, that after 5 years, the chances of it reoccurring, after 5 years of remission, the chances of it reoccurring would drop, exponentially. So, the percentages are now more in my favor than they were before. I think it's less than half of the people who make it through 5 years have a reoccurrence of this cancer. So, just briefly to fill you guys in, I had a type of cancer called multiple myeloma. I was diagnosed when I was 49, which is a little young. Multiple myeloma is kind of a rare cancer and it's a little tricky. Most people have never heard of it. It's not one of the famous cancers. It is most often a cancer that's diagnosed in older men. It also seems to be a cancer that is very prevalent in African American men and firefighters. In fact, it has the nickname Firefighters cancer because so many men that were former firefighters developed this cancer. Some famous people that have had it are Tom Brokaw and Pat Williams, the basketball coach. So just to let you know a little bit about this cancer, basically it is a cancer of the blood. So in my case, I had it in my marrow. I actually had it head to toe, which was kind of unusual. When I was diagnosed, obviously I'm female. I'm not old. I'm not over the age of 65. So they were a little shocked that I had it, and I had no family history, and I've never been a firefighter. So kind of covered all the bases. Basically what it is your body, the code, the best way I can explain it is using computer terms. The code gets misinterpreted and your body starts producing a ton of white blood cells, too many white blood cells. It suppresses your red blood cells so you become anemic. And when the white blood cells run out of room in your marrow, in your bone, they push through the bone, and it's called perfusion. They actually create holes in the bone. It makes your bones incredibly prone to breakage, and they're very painful. They don't heal well. In general, the perfusion actually is painful. I had quite a lot of pain when I was finally diagnosed, and they did the series of tests to see where it was in my body and really see how much I had in my body. I had it head to toe, and the perfusion itself causes something that looks like a bruise on an x-ray, which is kind of an unusual thing. It's kind of like this mark on an x-ray. I had a couple of them. I had one on my arm, I had one on my femur. I actually had one on my skull over here, and my doctor was a little surprised by that because he had never seen it on a skull, because your skull doesn't really have that much. Well, first of all, your skull doesn't have a lot of bone marrow. It doesn't have a lot of blood vessels. It's just not a really vascular region. There's not a lot of blood there to begin with. So it was a little unusual that I had it there. So I had chemotherapy. I had, after the chemotherapy was done, I had a stem cell transplant. I donated stem cells to myself. That was an interesting process. I had to inject myself in the stomach with something called Neupogen to get my cells up, my blood cells up, so that they could harvest my blood and then separate out the serum and remove my stem cells. I was then put into the hospital for what was supposed to be a month, but I actually ended up leaving after 12 days, which was great because that meant I was doing really well. And they gave me kind of this chemo that literally crashes your system. Like it crashes your system, and then they give you your stem cells back to kind of reboot your system and bring it kind of back online, so shall we say. I then was quarantined for 3 months. So I was quarantined, unfortunately, that year through Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and actually Valentine's Day. So I had to be alone for 3 months, and I could have very limited visitors. I had to wear a mask when I did have visitors, and it was very trying experience. I was all alone, which is my dog and my cat, for like 3 months. Um, During that time, yeah, wow, that's really hard. I actually was on Zoloft because so many people that have this particular type of cancer that have to go through quarantine have to go on some type of antidepressant because it's that depressing. So, regardless of that, the reason I use Valentine's Day as my kind of date that I went into remission was right. I had an appointment with the doctor. I think it was the 21st of February, but I remember Valentine's Day. I had no hair at the time. I was completely just like a chrome dome. There was this tiny little bit of stubble growing on my head, and I realized that I had to have been in remission because I was growing this little bit of stubble. So I went to the doctor. They did the biopsy, a bone marrow biopsy while I was there, and then I got the news that I was in remission shortly after. So it was really great. Now, going into 5 years of remission, there's a lot of significance to it because, yes, now I kind of, in my own way, feel like I can move forward. When you're in remission, you're kind of on the clock. I don't know how to explain it. Time's not really on your side because one of the things that you're dealing with is you don't know if the cancer will ever come back when you're in remission. In my case, my particular cancer, when it does come back, sometimes it's a much harder battle than the first battle. A lot of people have lost their lives to this cancer. It's a very complicated cancer. And until the advent of stem cell therapies, you just kept going into remission. The cancer became active again. You went into remission again with and using chemo. And you kept doing this cycle until eventually you succumbed to the cancer. Actually, what you normally died of was end-stage renal failure. Your kidneys gave out after years of battling the cancer and the chemo. So it was not a good end for people. So this stem cell therapy has been just a godsend for people that have this cancer. So what this meant to me was hitting this 5-year mark meant that I could move on in a lot of areas of my life, things that I was a little bit afraid of doing, like doing videos on YouTube. I'm also going to take a class in peer counseling. I'm really excited about it. I find out in a couple of days whether I've been accepted, and I'll be able to counsel other people, maybe cancer survivors, maybe just women who have gone through some type of really devastating trauma and need someone to talk to. So I'm very excited about that. But I just wanted to pop on here and kind of tell people about this really good feeling that I have. And more than anything, if you're someone who's battling cancer, or if you're battling anything, keep hope. There's so many innovations now with medicine, and not for nothing, even if you're battling something where there's no innovations in medicine, you can overcome things. Sometimes in order to get through something, you just have to go through it. You just have to do it. It's kind of like when you get to a stream, sometimes you just got to walk through the stream. It's the only way to get to the other side. But if you can do that, if you can stay strong, the reward is that you have this hope, this whole new life that you can, do what you want with. And your dreams don't have to die just because of something traumatic happening to you, whether it's cancer or something more serious that's not an illness. You can do it. You just have to have faith in yourself. You just have to get through the storm, and then the whole world is waiting for you. So I just wanted to come on, anybody, and just try and give a message of hope to anybody that's battling anything serious, that you can do it. You can hang in there. I faced this obstacle. I got through it with the help of amazing doctors, my family, my friends. But when it came down to it, when I was all alone during my quarantine, it was just me at 2 in the morning with me. And I believed in myself and I wasn't willing to die. And I got through it. And if I can do it, because seriously, I'm a little bit lazy, you can do it too. So please, whoever needs to hear this, do not give up hope. I know what it's like to wake up at 2 in the morning and it's just you and your thoughts. And it's a very scary place to be, but you can do it. You can come through this storm. Have faith in yourself. You are stronger than you think. So to everybody struggling, that's my message. And happy remission day to me. 5 years. I'm ready to move on in other areas of my life. I hope to see you guys in the next video. I promise to make a cooking video. Cross my heart, hope to die. I will make a cooking video. And I hope to see you soon. Thanks, guys. Hope you subscribe.